Hey there, Abundant Life. I wanted to update you as we head into week 2 of our in person worship services. But before I do that, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge what has been an incredibly emotional week here for our nation as we have seen deep wounds and hurts and fears come to the surface. And we've seen so clearly just how divided our nation is. I know for my family, everything that is going on in our nation this week has inspired and brought about some very meaningful, very important conversations between Sherry and myself with our kids as well. Conversations that have touched on issues of race and racism, issues of justice, touched on the gospel and unity and the love of Christ. And I hope that you've been having these conversations as well as we just try to process, what God's doing in this season and what role we have to play. And I hope too this has just brought you to prayer also, because I'm just seeing more and more just the deep need that all of us have for Jesus, and the reality that any healing in our land, it needs to begin with healing in our own hearts. So along those lines, Pastor Mike and myself, our elders, that's what we're here for. We're here for you all. If you need help just to talk through and to process what you're thinking, what you're feeling as you just listen and hear everything that's going on, this I believe is an important moment in history, and I believe the church has an important role to play in this moment, and that includes all of us as God is working in and through each of us. So please do just continue praying and know that we are here to talk through all of this and to walk you through it as well. Now, on a totally different note, I do want to acknowledge too that we had our first week of regathering. It's under our belts, and I know that for those of you who are able to join us, I know that it might have felt a little bit different and strange, or quite a bit different, but at the same time, it was just amazing to be able to see each other after so many weeks, so many months of not being able to. And to those who weren't able to join us, know that we missed you. We really missed you. And I know that there are many of you who are planning, you've told me you're planning to wait a bit longer before you rejoin us. And I'll reiterate that I am fully understanding and supportive of you in that decision. For as much as we want to see you, we really want you to be healthy and to be safe. And of course, I've talked to many of you with young kids, and I recognize how difficult it is to, looking at these protocols, at these guidelines, difficult to imagine bringing your kids to church. And I understand that difficulty, and I so badly wish there was something else I could say or do right now to just kind of put those aside, because my heart hurts not being able to welcome everybody back into our building and to make everyone comfortable in our building right now. Our church isn't the same on Sundays without the sounds of all of our kiddos running up and down the halls and laughing and yelling and playing with their friends. So we are just hoping that we're able to make that happen soon. Please tell your kiddos how much we miss them, how much we love them. As far as where we go from here, I still don't have much of a timeline to give you. We're kind of going week to week here as our church staff is keeping up to date on state guidelines, for what we can do as a church, and then we're bringing those guidelines prayerfully before the Lord to figure out what it all looks like in our own context. And that's not something I'm saying, lightly. We really are praying about and talking about all of these things constantly, trying to discern the Lord's direction for us in this season. So all that being said, we are planning on opening up our doors again this Sunday. It's going to look a lot like it did last week. But I do need to remind you, as I'll remind you each week, that we need to take these guidelines seriously. And I say that knowing that many of you look at those guidelines and think they're silly, or pointless, especially, if we're asking you and saying we need to socially distance from other households at church. And there might be others that during the week you've been interacting with. But as a church, this is what we have to work with right now. And we're hoping and we're praying that guidelines, ease up soon. But, many churches have looked at the state's guidelines and they've decided to just put off resuming in-person worship until things get closer to normal. And that's an okay decision for those churches to make. But for us at Abundant Life, we've looked at this and we've decided that we value being together enough to make our worship services available both online and in person. Even if we aren't ready, we can't all be back together at one time. And even for those of us who can be back together, it doesn't feel normal yet. So I want you to hear from me again. Like, I recognize this is not normal. This is challenging for me too. This is difficult. We're missing out on a Sunday morning on so much that we love about being together, but this is what we have right now. And I mentioned last week that this is a small beginning. But as God told the Israelites in Zechariah chapter 4, verse 10, even those small beginnings can lead to great joy. And I am praying that this can still be a season of great joy. So just a couple of housekeeping things before I sign off here. If you haven't already done so, please do remember to register for service this Sunday. Even if you signed up last week, it's a different link every week because we need to make sure that we have space for you in our sanctuary. You can sign up by using the link that I'll post in the video description here, or you should have received a text with that link. If you didn't receive that text, that means we don't have your cell phone number or we entered it incorrectly. So if you could let us know, we will update that in our system so that you can get up to the date information, and each week you'll get that link to sign up. And one more thing, if you could do us a favor and sign up by 9 a.m. on Friday morning every week, that would help us immensely as we have a team, people who come to set up the chairs and get the sanctuary set for for who is going to be there. And they'll be there on Friday to do that. And so if you can sign up by then, that would be wonderful. If you're not able to sign up by then we can't, you can still come and we will fill up our sanctuary. We have overflow in our fellowship hall, but it would help us immensely to know you're coming by Friday morning. If you're having trouble signing up, let us know. We will work with you on that because we want to make sure that if you're able and willing to come, we can make a way for that to happen. So we love you all, and we'll talk soon.